let's talk second-year quarterbacks and who's going to have the biggest leap. And there's so many different, leaps that we're talking about here. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, year one, year two. Doug Peterson's now there. The guy who kicked his kicker has now been kicked to the curb. That alone should just mean so much for him. Yeah, I said it. Zach Wilson gets Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and that goes with Elijah Moore and a supposedly healthy Corey Davis. Michael Carter, year two. They got a whole bunch of tight ends drafted and free agency. Becton could come back. Then you got Trey Lance. Anything he does is a leap, right? Then you've got Mac Jones. We saw what he did last year, and you could even throw Davis Mills in there, who had the second best rookie season of a quarterback. Justin Fields, a big question mark. Which one do you think is going to wind up with the biggest leap, Dan Orlovsky? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's Zach Wilson. And, Rich, I don't really think it's close. I think the quarterback that we saw set up going into their second season to play this well was Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. I think I look at the whole situation as this. Number one, second year in a system that has for 40-plus years had quarterbacks play above their talent level, and that's the Mike Shanahan, Gary Kubiak, Kyle Shanahan system. It is just as quarterback friendly when it comes to the commitment to the run, the threat of the run, and then the easy play-action pass throws out of it. So that alone is going to force a jump. Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator, second year. But their offensive line right now has 3 first-round draft picks on it. You mentioned Becton, but AVT, and then Laken Tomlinson was a first-round pick as well. Huge free agent signing from the 49ers. So this in 2 years, Joe Douglas, their general manager, has given Zach Wilson a good offensive line. I think it's got a chance to be a pretty darn good offensive line, candidly. You mentioned the tight ends. And now they've got 2 first-round selections at wide receiver, a second-round selection at wide receiver, and basically a first-round tailback in Breece Hall because reports were saying that they were going to take him. And that's everything for a quarterback to go play well, dude. Like this, if you are the talent that's a second pick in the NFL draft kind of demands you to be or deems you to be, then we're in a good place. And I think Zach Wilson is going to have a giant leap this year. Not only because of that, but also I saw him come back from injury last year. His last 6 games of the year, he looked like a good player. And from everything that you hear and from the people that I kind of talk to that I know in that organization, they have said that he has taken a massive leap when it comes to his ownership of his role within their organization.
Oh, my gosh. I got to tell you, that excites me to no end. And I love Sauce Gardner and what they did in the first round, too. You got Jermaine Johnson the second. I don't understand what I'm seeing with a competent front office actually building a team from the inside out. And
it's new for you. New for you, Jets fans.
It is weird.
I think he's in a really good place. And if you contrast it to Justin Fields' situation in Chicago, it's not even close. Anyone who expects Justin Fields to take a big leap this year, you're kidding yourself, or he's going to be the MVP of the league.
There's no in between. There's no in between.
Well, they've got a bottom 5, bottom 6 offensive line still. Their two top pass catchers are a second-round tight end from 2 or 3 years ago and a third-round rookie this year that they took out of Tennessee. Now, Darnell Mooney, is a good player. I don't believe he's proven to be a number 1 or number 2 in the league, so he doesn't have a number 1 or number 2 receiver as far as, guys with, are bona fide in that role. Bottom 5 offensive line, it's a lot to ask of him. I'm concerned about who's calling plays in New England. I've been adamant about that. I don't believe that that's a good situation for Mac this year. So I'm really convinced. I think Zach takes a big jump.
No. What are your concerns about Mac Jones? What are your concerns about him?
Well, 2 things. Number 1, the draft pick of Thornton out of Baylor as wide receiver in the second round. I'm not trying to be a jerk. Name the last player that came out of Baylor that the hype meant that he exceeded the hype or met the hype. Corey Coleman, the receiver, didn't work out. Denzel Mims, as you Jets fans know, hasn't worked out. Kendall Wright for the Tennessee Titans first-round pick didn't work out. These there's Baylor receivers that are really good college players, and they get drafted to go be big speed guys. And, Josh Gordon was the supplemental draft pick that actually worked. And I just don't know if I don't believe that Tyquan Thornton is going to be this second-round receiver when after him went Alec Pierce, the receiver out of Cincinnati that went to Indy. Sky Moore went to Kansas City. So both speed guys, but also good receivers. And then if you look at, Rich, the quarterbacks, the young quarterbacks in the NFL over the last 4 or 5 years that have taken these jumps in young parts of their careers, there's been this continuity in their offensive coaching staff. Patrick Mahomes had, Mike Kafka and Eric Bieniemy. Josh Allen had Brian Dable and Ken Dorsey. Joe Burrow's had Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan. Lamar Jackson's had Greg Roman and I believe their quarterback coach is Jeremy Urban. Like, he's had these guys for the same amount of time. Mac Jones goes from Josh McDaniels to a coach that's never called offensive plays in the league. Like, that is an issue.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.